In 2020, I haven't even dared to say how likely I think it is that in 2024, how likely I think it is that Joe Biden will win, because I know everybody will freak out and say that I've got my head in the sand. Is this a pep rally for Joe Biden? No, it's not. I'm here to tell you the freaking out, the Democratic freaking out is just so tiring.
Joe Scarborough is so sick of hearing Democrats worry about Joe Biden's prospects in 2024. Despite poll after poll showing him losing, including in critical battleground states, Joe thinks we're being dramatic. Let's hear more.
The stupidity that I've been listening to over the past several months about how this race is over and, Democrats are freaking out and Trumpers are so overconfident. John Heilman, it's just absolutely insane. Biden, man, Biden's got as good a chance as he had in 2020 right now.
Would it surprise you if that's not what the data indicates? The Real Clear Politics average of polls has Trump ahead by 0.9. Scarborough said that Biden has just as good of a chance as he did in 2020, but May 30th of 2020, that same polling outfit had Biden 5.7 points ahead of Trump, as you can see here. Nonetheless, Scarborough explains here why he thinks Biden's chances are much better than people are giving him credit for. Watch.
You look at the numbers, you look what Biden's sitting at right now, you look at the fact that he's at a low watermark, you look at the fact that the two areas that he should be having the most problem with, white voters and men, older men, he's actually, older Americans, he's actually doing very well. And my feeling has always been the same as what Nate Cohn said. He's already done the hard part. Right? He's already done the hard part. I always say in politics, conversion is the hardest thing to do. What Joe Biden has to do now, as Cohn says in this article, is he needs to bring his base home. Black voters, Hispanic voters, young voters. Much easier to say, come home.
He just needs to say, come home.
Yeah.
Why hasn't he done it yet?
Yeah, it's so dumb. So the reason why it is because, okay, he already converted some of the older, whiter voters, and he just needs to tell the other guys to come home. Well, how about Trump? Can't he just say, well, he converted the young, Latino, and black voters, he just needs to tell the older white voters to come home? Oh, right, he can go either way, duh. So now, but we're honest. So there is one silver lining here for Biden that I've been telling you about for the last couple of weeks. Some of those polls are showing older, whiter voters are going towards Biden. And remember, older voters vote more. It's actually the only ray of hope I've seen for Biden, but maybe it's something that's real and could have an impact. So if you've got a little bit of hopium on that, okay, I can live with that because it is rooted in reality. What I care about is reality. So these same clowns in mainstream media were like, oh, there's no way Hillary can lose. Can you believe anybody saying that Trump might win? How'd that work out for you? And what lesson did you learn from that? Nothing. Nothing at all, right? So, and he says, oh, well, this is just as good as 2020. But now you guys saw me on this show tell you that Biden was definitely gonna win in 2020. In fact, I was surprised that he didn't have a larger margin. Why? Because he was 7 points higher than he is today. It's not complicated, it's just math. Oh, do you want Biden to lose? Well, then why didn't I want Biden to lose in 2020? No, it's not about who I want. It's about reality and what the numbers indicate. And so when he says, oh, he just hit his low watermark, he's intending to deceive you. Scarborough knows that Biden's been sitting in the 30s for about a year. I did a desperation run against Biden to try to get anyone to run against him. Why did I do that? Not because I hated his policies. Remember, Gaza hadn't happened or anything along those lines at that point. I mean, I had issues with his policies, but the reason I did it is because an incumbent in the 40s cannot win. He's an incumbent in the 30s, and he's been sitting there for about a year. This is as bad as it gets. And this guy selling you a lot of that copium/hopium is doing it because his audience wants to hear those soothing words. They're so afraid that Biden's gonna lose, and they want Scarborough to go, oh no, don't worry about it. Oh, he's definitely gonna win. Keep watching this show. I'm gonna keep telling you that he's gonna win. So you're gonna feel so comfortable, get that blanket around you, sit on the couch. Oh yeah, he's gonna win, he's gonna win. By the way, this is the same thing Republicans did in 2020. Oh, the rallies are so large. Mitt Romney did in 2012. Oh I could tell, oh, the polls are all wrong, the polls are wrong. And there was a great moment the other day with Trump. He's like, the polls, they were so rigged in 2020, we won, but now the polls have me up, so I believe the polls. I'm like, okay, well, there you go. But as usual, Trump just says it.
Well, I mean, he's an incumbent. Normally, incumbents have an advantage. I mean, incumbents generally have the advantage through the primaries, and then now you're into the general, different deal. I think incumbency this time has a weight around Biden that he may have trouble shedding. Gaza, certainly, and U.S. policy, he's not only inherited it, but he has sort of doubled down on it. And Ukraine may be an issue as well. Young voters may show up in numbers that could be a problem for him as well. The thing that's weird to me is both these guys have problems. Trump's got problems, Biden has problems. We can talk about how flawed Biden is. He's not charismatic. I know what he's saying, but Trump is a madman and sort of advertises that, leads with it. I don't know. I feel like some of the traditional arithmetic to which Cenk is referring may not apply this time. I don't know who's going to show up. I do think the cake is sort of baked. We all kind of know which way we're going on this thing, but it will come down to turnout. And so in that way, maybe there's a Hail Mary still waiting. But Cenk is 100% right. The reason they're singing that tune on the Joe Scarborough thing is because their audience wants that.
It also should be noted that Biden is in that audience. That's Biden's favorite morning show. But I'm also glad you brought up the Israel point, and that's one of the reasons why Biden is losing support with younger voters. Polls have consistently suggested Biden has been losing support among younger voters. A Harvard youth poll released in April found Biden leads Trump by 8 percentage points among people ages 18 to 29, compared to a 23-point margin at that point in the lead up to the 2020 election. The latest New York Times poll of battleground states shows Trump leading Biden by 3 points among young voters. And more new polling from Democratic firm Blueprint shows young Americans are overwhelmingly pessimistic about politics. 943 18 to 30-year-old registered voters were polled, and here's what they found. 49% agreed to some extent that elections in this country don't represent people like them. 51% agreed to some extent that the political system in the US doesn't work for people like me. 64% backed the statement that America is in decline. And a whopping 65% agreed either strongly or somewhat that nearly all politicians are corrupt and make money from their political power. Only 7% disagreed. Evan Roth Smith, Blueprint's lead pollster, reacted to the results saying, "I think these statements blow me away. The scale of these numbers with young voters do not look at our politics and see any good guys. They see a dying empire led by bad people." What a quote.
Yeah, so look, Mark is so right. Incumbency is a giant advantage if you're not running for president, because then you're gonna get almost no media attention for your rando congressional run in the middle of Nebraska, right? So then you're gonna need the money to be able to buy ads, and you already have name recognition, which is the most important thing. So incumbency is a great advantage. If you're in a presidential primary, incumbency is a great advantage. But if you're in a general election at the presidential level, we already know both of those guys, and there's billions of dollars in free media. So it's not like, oh, I didn't know who Biden's challenger was, so I voted for Biden. No, you know both guys. So now why is incumbency a disadvantage? Well, Trump and Biden had similar situations. They both had low unemployment, but they were both good numbers minus COVID, to be fair to both of them, right? But Biden sucks at marketing. So Trump was like, oh, I did great with jobs, great with jobs, great with jobs. Biden's like, I did okay with jobs. So the marketing's a giant problem for him. But they have, there was a ton of immigration under Trump too. Remember, they would always come, oh, the caravans are coming, we gotta build a wall with the caravans. Well, then that means that there was a lot of undocumented immigration under Trump. Now, it did increase under Biden, but now every problem is an albatross around the incumbent's neck. And then guys, let me scare the living crap out of you. Because in October, as the election is coming up, The Saudis, unless we make a deal with them, and that might be why Biden today talked about making a deal with the Saudis. The Saudis, who really love Trump and have already made deals with him, could just go, hey, you know what? OPEC just decided that we're going to tighten the supply of oil, and gas prices skyrocket right before you're about to go vote. Na 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 na. The incumbent's done for. No chance. You could scream all you want, but Biden doesn't scream anyway. He would whistle, Saudis, right? But even if you scream from the rooftop, no, it wasn't me, it was the Saudis. Nobody's gonna listen. Nobody's gonna believe you. Incumbency is a giant problem in modern day politics in a general election at the presidential level. And to back up what Jordan is saying now, look, guys, young people, it's a 31-point swing. 31 points. And Joe Biden, do you even want to win this election? Like, you lost them because of Gaza. There's no question about it. You lost, you see the polling and it drops like a rock during Gaza. And he's like, nope, I'm just gonna send Israel as much money as they want. I'm gonna give it to them, give it to them, give it to them. I don't care, I don't care. Well then okay, then you don't care, you don't want to win the election. If you wanted to win the election, this is not how you would act. And young people are right, I don't mean in Gaza in this case, I think they're right about Gaza too, but about the corruption in politics. Because of in the old days, all you had was Morning Joe. So oh yeah, no, the politicians are so honest and wonderful and honorable. Well, we have Lindsey Graham on here, and he's gonna tell us his real opinions about whether we should invade a country. Oh, look at that, he says yes every time, no matter who the country is. But we're not gonna mention that his defense contractors give him millions of dollars in campaign contributions. But because of social media, young people know. That's why only 7% think that we have an honest system. They're correct. But the Democrats aren't addressing any of these things. And if you don't address it, it festers and festers. So Biden's in a world of hurt, and Scarborough making his feelings, his fifis better when he listens in the morning might make Biden feel better, might make his 70-year-old audience feel better, but you're not gonna feel good on election day because this is just a lot of BS.
Yeah, he's got to get surrogates out there, I would think, for the reason kind of Cenk is alluding to. Biden does not offer much charisma or even passion or emotion. But you have your Sheldon Whitehouses of the world who make the point about the judiciary being for sale and Trump being for sale. You have even the old school now Elizabeth Warren talking about the way the system is flawed. One of the things I like about TYT is years ago, it's always been on the politics and the corrupt aspect of politics, how really our system is for sale. I mean, there is real political hay to be made of that and a real potential difference to be made. But yeah, Democrats are not beating that drum at all that I can see.
The problem is on both sides, right? And I read that Vox piece that talked about the cynicism that young people experience. Like, I certainly share it, and I think you also share it, right? How could you not look at the system and see it's brazenly corrupt? Most of the stories we talked about tonight involve some element of political corruption. But when you're a young person and you see, especially within the context of Gaza, you see a president, even in the face of mass mobilizations, millions and millions of calls and emails to Congress asking for peace, asking for a cessation of hostilities, asking for you not to arm this country and this military that has killed 40,000+ people, innocent people. And no response, just a continued doubling down. How do you feel encouraged by that? How do you get involved? Why would you go out and volunteer? But even beyond that issue, stock trading, the simplest, most apolitically, brazenly corrupt issue. You talk to anybody regardless of political affiliation, they will share in their disgust for Congress's ability to trade stocks. It is so easy for them to just insider trade and face maybe a slap on the wrist, but they all get rich. And some of them outperform the S&P by 10s, 20s, 30, maybe 100% year after year. Wow, what luck. And the fact that they won't do anything about that, and people can see that more and more thanks to social media, why should they feel encouraged by our political system? And when your message relies on protecting that, saving democracy against Trump, in what way does that resonate with people who already feel the system doesn't work?
Last thing on this, because Jordan mentioned that last insider trading thing. So who are the only people in Congress trying to do something about it? Populists on the left, like Ro Khanna, AOC, etc., and populists on the right, actually, Matt Gaetz, and they joined forces. And the establishment, the corporate Democrats and the corporate Republicans are like, no, we're not gonna do that. Well, okay, then you're ceding the ground. I mean, look, Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi, in a sense, are ceding the ground to Matt Gaetz. Don't do that. Do the bare minimum and say, well, of course we're gonna end that. And they have it in their power to end that. If all they did was the Democratic establishment joined forces with Ro Khanna, Matt Gaetz, etc., they'd have plenty of votes. So they can easily do it. They're choosing not to do it. Well, like now, how many times did we tell you just in this story alone, different things that Joe Biden is choosing not to do that would help him so much? I can give you dozens of examples. I'll give you one last one. Legalizing marijuana, polls at over 70%. Again, the number of people opposed is tiny. It's in like the single digits. So why won't you just legalize marijuana? You'll pick up a whole bunch of independent votes. You won't do it. Well, if you don't want to win the election, you're not going to win the election.
And I thought he was going to. I mean, I think it's one of the things that he had talked about doing was legalizing marijuana. And yeah, I don't get it either. He is going after the student debt relief and student loan relief. But again, that's kind of playing the margins. I mean, that's really only playing the margins.
Yeah, and I'll give him credit for the 10%. He literally did relief for 10% of the students. And I always tell them when they write into us, if they're members, etc., then you should vote for Joe Biden. He did something for you. I mean, that's a thing that's real and tangible in your life, and it helped you a lot. But it's such a Biden and Democratic move to do 10%, right? Now you can say, hey, to be fair, he tried on the others. Others will say, hey, cynical people will say he put a poison pill in there so the courts could knock it down. Honestly, I don't know, okay? But if you see what we're saying is, if you do the right things, people will then go, oh, okay, that improved my life. It's not that complicated, it's elementary politics. If you're choosing not to do most of those things, then you can't cry about how you're losing in the polls. And telling the TV audience that you're winning isn't going to help. You have to actually change people's minds. And if you're not trying to change people's minds, the numbers will stay where they are and Trump will win.
And that's right. And the specter of that alternative might be the only thing that gets Biden a win. But I mean, it's just that Trump is so corrupt, so openly loathsome. So maybe, but it's no wonder that young people are disheartened.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.